Phil, George Bailey said that confidence was fairly low, understandably after a disappointing tournament. What's the mood like generally?
Yeah, look, it is a little bit low after you always like to win, and this tournament didn't go to plan, so we're disappointed about that. But now I suppose we got to look forward into the Ashes now, and we've got some good warm-up games before the first Ashes test. So now all the focus goes to the red ball now, and leading up to the Ashes.
Obviously, you're missing a couple of players due to injury. Obviously, Michael Clark and of course David Warner as well. Do you think that Michael Clark will be fit for the warm-up matches, Somerset or Worcestershire?
Yeah, look, hopefully. We'd love to have him back. He's obviously our best player and most experienced player and our captain. So, everyone would welcome him back, and hopefully he'll be there. But, it's a day-to-day thing for Michael. And, one thing with Michael, he's very professional with what he does off the field and, monitoring himself. So hopefully we'll have him back for the warm-up game leading up to the Ashes. And, I know everyone will want him back.
The difficult match against Sri Lanka, what do you think went wrong? Where do you think the flaws were?
We went for that win last night to hopefully qualify on the 29th over, and we had the licence to really go out there and free ourselves up. From the start, batting, I thought we bowled and we fielded quite well, and it wasn't to be last night, and it's disappointing that we didn't, win and obviously qualify. But now that's happened, we've got to move on and move on to the red ball now.
Probably sick of thinking about it and talking about it, but do you think that the attention on David Warner had something to do with the performance on the pitch?
Look, it has been a big, week or 10 days, but it had nothing to do with what's on the wicket, on the pitch. It's what's happened, and all of us really gelled well together, and we trained hard, we prepared really well, and we moved on from that, and that's all we're doing now is training hard behind the scenes and moving on, and what's happened, but it has been quite a big 10 days.
James Sutherland was very critical, obviously, of the actions, but also he held the whole team accountable. Do you think that's fair?
Yeah, look, everyone's accountable for, what's happened, and we're all in this together, and we always have been, and you can always single out one or two guys or whoever it might be, and I think the best thing is we're all in together, from the staff, the players, and everyone involved.
3 weeks to the Ashes. George Bailey has said it's very, very different, obviously, the Ashes. Can you describe how you think as a team you'll rise?
Yeah, look, it's a huge occasion, and we're always up for big occasions. I know personally I was here, 4 years ago, and it's just a great experience being in Ashes, Ashes series. And I know all the guys now, that's our main focus now, is the red ball, and worry about these couple of practice and warm-up games before the first test. And it's going to be huge hype around the series, and I know all the boys are going to be up for it.
Mitchell Johnson and George Bailey don't look like they're going to be included, even though they've played fairly well. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, look, they have played quite well. There's been some good individual, performance out of these one-day games, but it was disappointing that we didn't win as a team. But that comes down to selections. That's you'd have to ask the selectors those questions.
Had a look at England, of course. What are you anticipating for the Ashes?
Oh, look, hopefully we win every game. It's a huge series, and the hype around the series. I remember the memories 4 years ago, and personally how disappointed I was, and everyone was that when we lost that series, and that's in the back of my mind. And we as a kid growing up, you always wanted to be in Ashes series, and that's what we always talk about. And we'll be preparing very well, and hopefully we get the numbers on the board and win games of cricket.
Fahad Ahmed's hopefully going to be eligible as well. How's that going to be a boost?
Who's that, sorry?
Ahmed.
Yeah, look, there's been a lot of talk about that. Farwood, he's playing Aussie A as we speak, so he's a great kid. I've watched him bowl a little bit. He was up in the Centre of Excellence when they're preparing to come over here. So he's a great kid, and he's a great guy, and he'll be, he's good to have around the Aussie A boys. I've spoke to a couple of boys, and they said he's really gelled in, fitted in really well. So, as I said, that's another one up to the selectors and what they've got to do there.
Just finally, will you be watching the Lions' first test? And if so, do you have a message for either team?
Yeah, go the Aussies.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.
Phil, you pleased, obviously, to get the extra game by going to Australia, right, and get that extra chance, I suppose, to have a hit? Yeah,
for sure. It's I'm really looking forward to leaving today, get a couple of training days in, and then in Bristol and start on Friday. So it's I'm really looking forward to it, and hopefully spending as much time in the middle as possible, and get me set. I suppose my mental game around the red ball now.
will it be easy to make that adjustment? I mean, like how much will the disappointment of the Champions Trophy linger around, or can you separate the two?
Yeah, look, it was disappointing, to be knocked out and to lose those games of cricket in the Champions Trophy. But now that's behind us. Now it's about moving on. We'll be disappointed for a day or two, but now it's all the focus is about the red ball now, and we'll get into preparation. And I know personally I can't wait to, get into the game on Friday and play some, more cricket.
Can you take heart that the England game was, I guess, the only one where you really sort of let yourselves down? I mean, the second game against New Zealand was rain abandoned, and the third one, circumstances meant you had to play the way you did. So, do you think it looks a bit worse than what it is?
Yeah, maybe it does. I think through patches there, we played some really good cricket. But you can go through each game, and you can. I suppose you can look at excuses, but I'm not one for excuses. What's happened. And at the bottom line is we probably just didn't play as well as we could have really to qualify and to win games. So, look, that's how it really panned out for this series. It's not a nice way to end the series last night, but we've got to move on now.
Phil, confidence seems to be an important thing for you over the time of your career. Obviously, you've had patches of a lot of runs and patches of not so many. How do you go to, or how do you prepare yourself to get into a positive, confident mindset heading into the test?
Yeah, well, look, hopefully spend as much time in the middle as possible and getting runs in the middle. That's what really counts in these, practice games. But behind the scenes, doing the work in the nets. And now all my focus will be on the red ball now. It can be at times tricky to juggle formats, but the beauty of it is the best thing now is it's still a fair way to the Ashes, and we've got some really good cricket coming up to that first test match. So, we'll be training a lot, we'll be preparing as best possible, and really hopefully spending much time in the middle in these practice games as possible.
Have you, over the years, have you learned a bit, do you think, about, clearing your head and getting into a position when you're going out to bat just to see the ball and react to it and hit it rather than letting other stuff get into your head?
Yeah, it's a tough one. The older you get, the better you are, I think. You speak to players in the past and, they sometimes say you mature at 28, 29 years of age. So I suppose one thing for me, I've still got age on my side, but I've been very lucky to, be around the international scene for now 4 years, and I feel like I'm in a lot better space than I was, 4 years ago. I feel like my game's come along, and also mentally it's come along. So it's a pleasing thing going forward. But day in, day out, I'm still looking to improve to get better.
How do you feel now? I suppose 3.5 weeks out as opposed to when you were here last time. That same distance is preparation time. Do you feel?
Yeah, I feel a lot better. Preparation's key, I suppose, for every player, and especially for me personally. I like to hit as many balls as possible and play games of cricket. So the beauty for me now is it goes to the red ball. I go to Bristol today and play on Friday, so I can't wait to get there and hopefully spend as much time in the middle as possible. And I know one thing around the Ashes, there's huge hype, so it's about staying as calm as possible. And yes, sort of wiping out as much, media and outside influence as possible, and just keep it as a tight team unit.
Phil, I don't want to harp on the events of Birmingham too much, but was it a bit of a lesson in terms of the whole idea of we celebrate when we win, and if we lose, we don't?
I suppose everyone's accountable for it, and it was a loss, and I was actually one of the guys that was out, after that loss. So it was, I put my hand up and say it wasn't the right thing to do after a loss, and to go out and have a few beers, it wasn't the right time and place. We all got to, learn from that, and I definitely put my hand up and say it wasn't the right time.
I guess it's a matter of what you're thinking about it. So you've lost a game. You don't want to feel like you want to do that because you've lost? Yeah,
look, it's, you want to win and have a beer after you win. But I suppose that, what happened there was, as I said, I put it behind us all now. That's happened. It's about moving on, and I'm the first one to put my hand up and say shouldn't have been out after a loss.
Phil, just finally, mate, sorry. Ricky was around in the sheds the game yesterday. Was it sort of good to see him around?
Yeah, I actually heard he was around. I didn't actually see Ricky because we were out in the field, and then we come back in, then I had to go out and open the batting. So I actually heard, and a couple of boys said he was around. So it's good to see him around. But personally, I didn't actually get a chance to see him.